Hello, hello, this is Abigail Jukes. Welcome to a day in my non-aesthetic life. There used to be something ominous about the question, what are we going to eat today? It hits like a gut punch, immediate stress, and a sense of obligation. A call of duty, if you will, rises up, like a voice saying, get to work, your chirpy birds are hungry. Like a good little red hen from the old fable, so begins the necessary hours in the kitchen, cooking a meal, and thereafter cleaning up. And so I used to dread this question of, what are we going to eat today? And then I sought to automate the answer and prepare meals ahead of time to reduce the pain of the dreaded question. But it turns out I was missing the whole point. The Lord said in his prayer, give us today our daily bread. And then immediately adds, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink. Yet this is not the case for a meal prepping mama. At least 2, maybe 3 days are spent planning, shopping, and preparing food for the week or the month, depending on how aggressively you want to approach meal prepping. To this I say, no more. I will cook a daily meal for myself and my family, God willing. And if for any reason or no reason at all I cannot or will not, I keep plenty of simple options stocked at home, like ramen, cheese sticks, deli meats, crackers. If that doesn't suffice, we can order something. In my experience, meal prepping has an unintended consequence in that it makes the act of cooking lose its value, relegating it to a mere task to be maximized for the sake of efficiency and convenience, thereby stripping some of its nurturing essence. No one, I hope, would condense daily prayer into a single weekly session and hope it's enough for the week or month. Daily prayer is a necessity if you want relationship with God. In like manner, the daily act of cooking a meal for your family offers a moment to reflect on the hands that provide and the divine provision that sustains us. Each meal, prepared with care, echoes God's love, reminding us to remain connected to the real source of our sustenance, which isn't even food, but God's Spirit and His plans for us. In leaving meal prep behind and paradigm shifting my kitchen, what are we going to eat today? Is now a question I ask myself before anyone else. It's the first thing I think about in the morning, and it sparks actual interest and curiosity in conversation. What's in the fridge? What do we want to eat? Is anybody craving anything? And as we settle on an answer, the family gathers as I cook. The dog finds a cozy spot to spy from, and then something wonderful happens. We wait together for the food to be ready. Sometimes we play during that time. Sometimes we nibble on things we found in the fridge that need nibbling. Whatever we do, the wait reminds us good things take time. And people need to reunite with the concept of time, which we've all but forgotten is apps order for us. Someone else shops for us. AI thinks for us. Deliveries arrive faster than us sitting in traffic. Life may seem easier, but something of critical essence is being lost. But preparing a good meal daily grounds you, bringing you back to the reality of time. It requires care and diligence. Steps need to be done carefully, one by one. It pulls you back to the real, to actually living in the day the Lord made. It may sound moronic, but letting go of meal prep allows you to live life one day at a time, which seems like an incredibly stupid thing to say. How else can you live, right? 3 days at a time? But meal prepping attempts to live 1 week, even 1 month at a time. Things happen. Power goes out. Generators don't start, or you just don't want to eat the same thing again. I'm again reminded of the Bible and God providing manna in the wilderness, bread from heaven, fresh each morning, but with strict instructions. Gather enough for that day alone. Yet some paid no attention. and kept part of it till morning, but later found it full of maggots and beginning to smell. Although the lesson here, I think, is more about trusting God for daily provisions, my mind goes to the many spoiled meal preps I have thrown out over the years. I have thrown out enough freezer-burned food to know that I haven't, overall, saved any money by meal prepping. Any savings, if any, were always destroyed by spoilage or time. After a year in the freezer, breakfast burritos completely lose any appeal. And that doesn't factor in the time I lost essentially cooking for the garbage can. I confess, life after meal prep feels much lighter. I no longer dread the dreaded question, what are we going to eat today? I look forward to contemplating its answer, and in that process, I and those under my care elevate and value more appropriately the idea of daily sustenance, because the work and the worker that makes food in the belly happen are worthy of thanks and appreciation, and I've noticed that when the meal preps are high, regard for the cooking goes low. Perhaps there is godly wisdom in this, for we rely on God for daily sustenance, just as a family depends on the nurturing hands that prepares the meals for nutrition. This daily rhythm of cooking a meal for your family is almost like a divine pattern, where the act of creating and sharing food becomes almost a sacred thing, reflecting God's daily steadfast care of us. Friend, I say this with kindness from the other side of meal prepping. I feel meal prepping is akin to trading culinary freedom and freshness for freezer-burned cages and frozen breakfast quiche that look cute on Instagram but are a shadow of freshly scrambled eggs with a side of toasted fresh bread. And I know how to store and reheat the food so it tastes great, yet it's still not the same. Personally, given the choice between carefully crafted pour-over coffee or instant coffee powder dissolved in hot water, I would choose carefully crafted every time. And I would choose freshly prepared food over something that's been sitting in my freezer for a month, with very few exceptions. Mainly shredded meats like pork shoulder, but in my opinion, that's almost more of an ingredient prep rather than a meal prep, because I use those to freshly prepare many different dishes, and there is almost no prep to it. Now, I do believe there is a time and place for meal prep, before childbirth or surgery, or if some major life event is looming. But I also think there is much to be said about ingredient prepping, which I just mentioned, instead of or in lieu of meal prepping. I have found real savings and real convenience with ingredient prepping, which is the idea of prepping your food ingredients as soon as you get home from the store. Things like onions, potatoes, meat, these get processed the same day and then stored in the fridge or freezer. And this actually makes daily cooking so much more enjoyable. Maybe I'll do a video about it in the future. Letting go of the pressure to meal prep, which, let's be honest, comes largely from watching YouTube influencer moms, has been like lifting a heavy weight off my shoulders. By releasing the idea that meal prepping is a mandatory task of proper motherhood, I've reclaimed my kitchen as a space of nourishment and creativity, not mechanical routine. I've learned not to try to make life so efficient you're not actually living it anymore, only automating what could otherwise be rewarding experiences, like cooking with intention that one daily, almost sacred meal. Try it yourself. If you're an ardent meal prepper, let it go for a week. You don't have to have every single meal planned for the week. You don't even have to know what you're going to cook tomorrow. Wake up, see what you have. Go buy what you need to make something tasty. And cook one meal tonight, just one. Let leftovers happen naturally and see how that feels. Cook only enough for the day, and if you have leftovers, what a blessing. It's like accidental meal prepping without any of the hassle. Much love to you and yours, friends. Like and subscribe to encourage me to make more content like this. See you in the next one.